Alright guys, so let me tell you something. The world today runs on the web, and the web is built on codes. And frankly, being a web developer these days is extremely valuable. Not only is it valuable, but it pays really well. I've put forward 2 articles which shows you the average salary of a front-end developer in the US. And as you can see, a junior developer is going to make around $61,000 a year, whilst the senior developer with 3 or more years of experience is going to make around $108,000 a year. And now that's a lot of money. Imagine all the things that you can do with this money. Yeah, I would probably buy a lot of sushi. Yeah, I love sushi, definitely. So here's the thing. How do you actually get started with web development? Well, let me get back to you guys. Alright, so let's get started with this video. So if you're the type of person that doesn't like to consistently learn and adapt your skills, then honestly, you're going to have a really hard time learning. Please note that this video is meant for beginners with no experience in web development or programming, and the ones who does not know where to begin. So the first step when it comes to web development is to figure out your end goal. And what I mean by that is that you have to know where you want to be in the end. Do you want to work for a big company, or maybe you want to do this all just for fun, or maybe you want to freelance, start your own business, who knows, right? And before you start learning anything related to programming, I would recommend you learning the basics first. Well, but how do I learn the basics? Well, one of the most fascinating things about programming is that all the languages are built on the same concepts, like strings, arrays, data types, and lists. The list goes on forever. Which means that once you learn programming language and you know the concepts of that language, it's going to be so much easier for you to learn other languages as well. Well, what language do you suggest me to learn? Well, that's something I'm going to talk to you later on that, so stay tuned. Having said that, learning all the fundamentals of a programming language is going to prepare you for the future challenges that you're going to face ahead of you. And by the way, I did a quick look on Google for the most demanding languages right now, and it seems like JavaScript, which is one of the programming languages required to build web applications, it shows that JavaScript is one of the top 3 most demanding programming languages in the job market today. And yeah, that's an indirect hint. Alright, so now let's move to my computer and I'll show you the holy grail of programming. So there's actually 2 ways I would suggest you do when starting off with web development. One of them is going by the hard way. However, this will also be more rewarding for you on the long run. So what do I mean by the hard way? Well, the way I started off with web development is through learning basics programming before doing any web related stuff. I started off by learning Python programming and also a little bit of C before I was introduced to web development. By learning the main concepts of these 2 languages, it prepared me so much for the challenges ahead of me when I started to dig deep into my friend zone. I mean web development. And since I already knew the basic syntax and concepts of these languages, it became easier for me to quickly catch up with the web application or the web development tools such as JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. And since I already knew about lists, arrays, data types, it became so much easier for me to code in JavaScript rather than if I just started from scratch. And I also think that JavaScript is very advanced for beginners. So yeah, I will suggest you go the hard way by learning basic Python and C programming before you move on to web development. So the second way of approaching the issue is by the easy way. By this I mean you actually get started straight away with web development by learning the programming tools and languages needed to create websites and applications, such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I also have 10-minute guides on HTML and CSS on my channel, so you should really check them out. And when it comes to more advanced web applications, there are JavaScript frameworks such as React.js, Vue.js, Cook.js. The good thing about this is that you don't waste your time and you actually get started straight away with web development. However, by doing so, you'll actually spend more and more time by practicing the new syntax that you have never been through before, rather than just learning all these basic concepts from Python or C language. And also, as I already mentioned, the syntax on web development tools such as HTML and JavaScript are much more harder to get started with rather than basic Python language. And now let me show you the number one rule of web development. And not just web development, it applies for any type of development, which is to learn how to learn. Yeah, you heard me right. Learn how to learn. You must learn how to search up your problems. Because if you don't know how to search, you're going to have a really bad time programming. The myth is that since we're already developers, we should know everything, right? However, the truth is that we don't know anything at all. Really? I'm just a guy. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. As a programmer or a developer, we usually get stuck at the easiest things ever. That's why we are so good at learning how to learn. As a programmer, you must know how to search. So there's this one problem I always manage to get stuck on, no matter how many times I have solved this. And the issue is that how do I center a div inside of another div, right? It might seem very simple for the ones who know CSS very well, but the truth is that even the simplest things ever can even make developers suffer. So that's why it is important to learn how to search and how to learn so you can solve your problems. So here's what you do if you're stuck or have problems solving a code issue. You go to Google, you type in your problem. Your number one friend, I'm your number one friend. Your number two friend is going to be this website called Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is a platform where coding questions are being asked frequently, and I find that a lot of my questions when I was learning web development was already answered before. So this platform is pure gold. It is like the Bible of programming. So once you have started out and made some web applications or apps here and there, you would want to start a portfolio. A portfolio is where you can showcase your projects and work so that you can showcase to your future employer or you can showcase to me. It is important that your portfolio is going to look really nice, attractive and modern, but also make it simple to navigate through. And if you want me to create a tutorial on how you can build a really strong portfolio as a web developer, make sure to hit the like button, comment and subscribe to my channel, and I'll make sure that I'll try to create a video on that. And I always read the comments. As for now, I was feeling tired and I felt that I needed some fresh air. Just kidding. Programmers don't need fresh air. Let's move on. Now back to the topic. Another important aspect of having a portfolio is that even if you are a self-taught developer with a lacking scholar degree, it is really important for you to compensate for that lacking degree by having a really good showcasing portfolio. And I don't know how it is around the world, but here in Norway, most employees actually value self-made projects and self-taught on the same level as an educational degree. Here's a front-end developer ad for one of the biggest insurance companies in Norway, and they are looking for an experienced front-end developer. You can probably understand this line, but all it says is that they are happy to hear from you even if you're a self-taught developer. So this gives us all hopes, guys. And the really cool thing that you can implement to your portfolio is that you can host your applications or websites for free, which brings us to our next section. Learn to use Github. Since you're already going to build your own portfolio, why not store it all on a single platform that you can share and showcase, and the most important of them all, save your project, right? Well, having said that, the most used platform for code is Github. Think of Github as the Facebook for programmers. You can showcase your projects, you can open source your projects, you can share your code, and best of all, you can save your projects on your account. By doing this, it will be so much easier for you to build your own portfolio that you can showcase to your friends, your future employee, or even me. Alright, so I tend to see a lot of people asking on Google, Stack Overflow, if they need a good computer to start programming. And this question, I think that this question is so much asked all around the programming community that it needs to be answered. And the short answer is that you don't really need a good computer or even a powerful computer at all. The code lies in your head and in your heart. No, but all jokes aside, I would suggest you get a minimum of 8 GB of RAM and at least an i5 or an AMD Ryzen 3 to get started. Now with all this being said, there are a few things that I think you should take into consideration. First of all, consider what your end goal is. Do you want to learn for fun, to get a job, or to freelance? Second, learn the basics. If you go by the hard way of learning, through learning Python and C before you get to learn web development, you should have no problem at all moving to JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Since you already know the basic concepts of programming from earlier. Free. Learn how to learn. Search up your problems and issues. Use your friend, or even your best friend, Stack Overflow, or also known as the Bible of programming. 4. Create a solid portfolio that will attract your future employees. And also make sure to use the platform Github to save your projects. That way it will be so much easier for you to manage and save your projects on your single account. And at last, it's not all about the hardware or your computer, no matter how expensive the computer is. It's you that are going to create the code, it's not the computer, right? So don't worry too much about if you have the required hardware or the software. In the end, it all comes to your imagination. It's only you that are going to produce these kind of codes, right? So yeah, in the end, the software is just a bonus. Having said that, I thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to my channel for future videos. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace!